Diego, before we get started, we'll go with Maddie Casey from ABC4 and then Brian Priest from KSL Sports. But can you just give us your general feelings on what went through your head, your heart, when you found out that Audi was so supportive with you and your efforts in this Community Impact Award?
Yeah, I think for me this year has been very special. I think that's, it's up there with, if not the biggest reason of why this year has been so special, of being able to, you know, be vulnerable and open up to a different side of something besides soccer. So I think that's been very special for me. And then to now have, basically being backed up by Audi and by a lot of people and the support that I've gotten, it just makes everything so much special to, take that step to become vulnerable and speak out about something that you know, experience and that you enjoy talking about and speaking up about. And to now have Audi and the fans and the support to back it up, it's very special to me.
Go ahead, Maddie.
Hey, Diego, congratulations again, brother. How
Thank you.
did, when you're sitting with children talking about your mental health, when you're
Yeah.
writing an essay like to every kid scared alone in the dark, what do you hope they take away from those conversations?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is to get the understanding that it's okay. It's okay to speak up. It's okay to not to be vulnerable. It's okay to, you know, th- to get out of the stereotype of, you're strong if you hold everything in, to get out of that stereotype. I think that's the biggest thing that I want to break into kids' minds is to understand that it's okay to speak up and that that's not what makes you strong. That's not what defines you um as making you strong or making you, this stereotype we have. So I think the biggest thing for me to get out to the younger generation is understanding that it's okay to reach out for help and that it's okay to be vulnerable because at the end of the day, that's what makes you the strongest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And looking back through your career, Mikey Varas has been outspoken about meditation and mindful breathing. Now you've got DeAndre on your team who wrote those children's books about
Yeah.
mindfulness. What's next for you in this arena? And have you given any thought to collaborating with some of your RSL or Royals teammates?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things I have planned, a lot of things that in my mind that I'm journaling about, things that I'm trying to create in my mind before bringing them to life. And I think that's something new to me because this is the first time I'm taking this big step into this type of um, journey for me. And I think I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing and getting as much reaching as many people as I can to get as much help as they need. Just by doing the right thing. So I think that's the thing for me is taking it slow, but also it's exciting for me to have something else besides soccer to really focus on and you know grind away at, right, to step out off the field and kind of still help the game, still help the youth without soccer. So I think that's something super special.
You're certainly on the forefront of this. The reason we're here talking, you're one of the only guys that will talk about this in public. How scary was it the first time you started talking about it, and what has the reaction been for you personally?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was speaking out to my family about it, right? That's a huge step. It's the biggest step right there. I think, we talk about not worrying about what others think, not worrying about, the outside world, but your family is your family. Your family is your blood. And I think speaking up to them about something so important like this and having the support from them and having the understanding of, you know, what we're going through in my life, but also with young generation, with the kids coming up with social media and all these different things. Um, just getting the understanding and the the following from the parents to support, this journey that the kids are on. And I think that's something that is going to be exciting to continue to grow and help.
And then last one for me, if you could boil down one piece of advice for a young person who's struggling with anxiety, or maybe even a younger teammate who's following your journey where they're starting to
Yeah.
step onto a bigger stage, what would it be?
Yeah. I think it's a tricky one, right? Because you have so many different scenarios in so many different lives, and I think the biggest thing is, like I keep saying, is that the understanding of what it really means to get help, and what the benefits are of reaching out and getting the help. Because I went through this myself, as many 5-6 years of going through this, thinking that I will get out of this. I'm fine, that this is normal feelings. And it took me one session with a therapist to realize that this is not how normal it's supposed to be, and how different the other side of the mind can be, and how how your emotions can be different after just one session with my therapist. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that just not being afraid to get help, and the understanding that some feelings and emotions that you have aren't normal. There is help that you can receive to really feel your best. And who wouldn't want to feel their best and feel their happiest, right? I think that's the obvious thing, is like, if this is something that's going to help you in your daily life, in work, in with your family, with everything, why not take that step towards that? So yeah.
Awesome. Congratulations again, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Diego, thanks so much for taking the time with us on
Of
a really
course.
important topic. Honestly, it's in addition to your national team call up again. Congrats on that goal um, the other night as well. But as you kind of went through sort of this mental health journey that you were on, and talked to the people that sort of helped you become what you've become, did you find that? I mean, you've touched on this a little bit before, but did you find that it made you a better soccer player, even physically? Kind of addressing some of your mental struggles?
Yeah, I think this is a full circle type of focus that you work on with your mindset and your mentality. I think it's the number one priority in everyone's life, whether it's a soccer player, whether it's um, a firefighter, whether it's a vet. I think the biggest thing is your mental health and your mental capability, because it allows you to have that freedom of thought, and that freedom, clear head, to focus on what you're doing. And I think that's the most obvious reason, of course. But I think overall, yeah, physically it also helps, because it allows to de-stress. It allows to cope with things that are going on in your life that you don't have to really stress about, that you don't have to put too much attention on, or how to handle these type of situations, and what emotions to go through, and what steps to take, which at the end of the day allow less stress. And then your body feels better, and we all know what that feels like, right? With when you have stress and when you have less stress, your body feels more free, more loose, more capable. And I think that's the answer.
Yeah, 100%. And then as you've sort of um, kind of let your story be known and that sort of thing, it seems like a lot of people have also opened up about mental health, and a lot of big companies like Audi were here on this call, the work that you've done with primary children's in the state.
Yeah.
I think is definitely very notable sort of in that regard. What does it mean for you to kind of see sort of these big groups, big companies, big platforms, big influencers sometimes to, I guess, do what you're doing, but also just to be able to kind of address sort of the mental
Yeah.
health crisis that's going on in the state, in the country, in the world?
Yeah. I think it's special, man. Um I think it's about time. It's about time that this starts to be something where we speak about it as very public, and not something we hide behind, and something we put we put under a bunch of other things. I think it's very obvious that, like I said, with the clear mind, with a healthy mind, better decisions will be made, better choices, better acts of kindness, like all these types of things. It helps you understand different types of things, how things are working. And I think in the world itself, that's what you need, right? You need a clear mind to make the right decision for you, the right decision for your family. And it all comes down to your mental health and how you're doing up here. Because, you know, if that's going to not in a good direction. I was gonna say going to shit, not in a good direction. I think there's nothing good that can come from it when you're struggling up here, because you don't have a clear mind to make these decisions.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Not a question, but just wanted to say thank you for this work outside of the soccer realm. It's saving a lot of lives, man.
Of course. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sean. Let's go to Brant Goebel.
Diego, first, thank you for all your efforts, and two,
Of course.
congratulations on the award and the recognition. But it's one thing to raise the question and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm not feeling good. There's something wrong." What are the steps? What would you say to young players, young fans, just people in general? What would you say are the next steps after that? How do you keep and maintain a commitment to um, having a healthy growth and health and better mental health? What are the steps you're taking?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest motivation was feeling, 10 times better after my first session, after my first attack towards this issue. I think that motivation alone for me has kept me coming, right? I think the feeling of feeling more emotionally stable, more clear with the mind, more stress free has made the effort for me to continue to go through this process and push through it because you know feeling better is the number one thing, right? So I think that for me, but I think the other thing is for people to stay consistent with this thing is buying into the program, buying into to the help that you're getting, and understanding why you're getting it, and understanding what each thing that you're working on, whether it's the tool you're given, whether it's the steps, or understanding each emotion, each issue, is understanding that, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to allow your mind to process it and continue to work towards it, because it's something that's benefiting you.
And you're almost a groundbreaker on this issue, especially in Major League Soccer. What do you think, and where do you think leagues like Major League Soccer and just society in general, where do you think they can improve and help to get this message out to young players that obviously it's a challenge to be a young player and a professional athlete and have so much recognition?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's a great question. And I think the number one thing that I could say MLS could do, and I think they might have some opportunity, or they might already have things like this, but it's just providing people to talk to, providing this as an option for young players, and for any players. It doesn't have to be young, for any player in the league going through things, family issues, financial issues, understanding, struggling with what's to come for them, or the pressure of like you said, of the game itself and performing. It all can play a factor into the mental health. So I think what MLS could do is provide, whether that be therapists or people at the clubs to talk to, and have their safe space there within the club. I think that would be pretty cool.
And then finally, again, you're still young in your career, obviously, but you've put in a lot of effort to get where you are now. What are some of the next steps for you with RSL and your career as a national team? And how do you think that your focus on mental health is going to help you reach those goals?
Yeah, I think, like I said, this mental health journey that I'm embarking on is going to allow me to have something else outside of the soccer world to focus on, something outside to kind of take my mind away from the game. And I think that's something that is good for players, is to have another thing that they can focus on and work on, and plan and do things for, that's not related to the job, to which is performing on the field. So I think that's going to allow me to have that kind of happiness and stuff of helping people and supporting people, but also having my own journey and creating and building off this thing that I've started. And that's going to come with, of course, with the mental health. It's going to come with less stress, and continuing to work on emotions that I'm figuring out, and things that I have to process, and how to handle certain situations. And that's going to allow me at the end of the day to be more mentally clear. So when I go into trainings, games, big moments, I have my tools for different emotions, and also to perform and really enjoy being on the soccer field, rather than having to be in my head with the struggles that I have. So it allows me to be 100% locked in on the field, and having fun and enjoying this beautiful sport.
Thank you. And congratulations again.
Thank you.
Anybody else for Diego before we move on to the next thing?
Yeah,
Yes, go ahead, Tyler.
thanks. Thanks, Trey. Diego, again, congratulations for the performance yesterday. Very, very awesome seeing you perform at that level. Um,
Thank you.
and then also, kind of anything else that maybe someone that's struggling could do right now, maybe some media they could look at, something you do, a book recommendation, something like that that might help someone who can go look it up right now and get some help.
Yeah, I think right now, so there's a lot of videos and content you can go onto the website. It's definitely hard to exactly tell the audience what they need, right? I'm not no therapist and stuff like that. But I think, you know, a single search on YouTube about what you are struggling with as an individual, is already 100 steps past a lot of people of what they're doing, right? So one search and seeing a video, because there's hundreds, thousands of videos out there, but I think that just the step to make that commitment to go watch a video, I think is already a huge step, and I think that's, you should be very proud of that, and very brave. For me, I think the biggest thing that I've done is a lot of journaling. That's been my thing. The journaling has been something that I've done that has allowed me to basically take what's in my mind and write that onto paper. And whether that's issues, whether that's things I'm confused about, to release it and see it from a kind of an outside perspective, right? And I think that's something that's been very helpful for me. Um, and one book that it can go with mental health and your mentality, but it's also a separate thing, I think, would be Atomic Habits. And I think that's something that I've read, that it just builds kind of the discipline and the mentality, that side of, it's all part of the mental side, but it builds that side of the mental health that kind of allows you to kind of focus on other things, and kind of understand how to work with certain emotions to accomplish things at the end of the day. So I think that's those are three things that I could say that are super cool.
Yep. Thanks so much, Diego, and
Of course.
congratulations again.
Thank you.
Hey, Diego, just a quick follow up on that. Pablo talks about a lot of this stuff. He gives us book recommendations often. Are there any cool anecdotes you can share about his role in your journey on this path during your years in Salt Lake?
Yeah, I think Pablo has been very honest and very straight up with me as a player, and coming into Salt Lake as a teenager still, and having to develop under him and having to learn a lot of new things. I think he's handled the way I've grown extremely well, and he's a big reason of the success that I've been having. Um, but I think, yeah, outside the field, he's big into the meditation and to the belief, which are two amazing tools, amazing there's another word, but amazing tools that you need in life to be successful, is belief, making sure that's one thing, and then the meditation, which is not everybody's cup of tea, but to a lot of people it really helps calm the mind. It really helps stress relief and all these things, and kind of organizing things and with a clear mind. And I think, like I said, with all this, that's the goal, right? Is to have a clear, happy mind that allows you to make good decisions, and the right ones for you. So I think those are two things that Pablo has implemented into our team and into me, that I'm taking up on.